Okay. Hello, my name is Jiwoo. Today I have a problem. The problem is that spacesuits are heavy and expensive. And spacesuits are very heavy since there are 21 layers in modern spacesuits with each different with which if each different purposes like blocking the radiations and protecting it from space dust. And Today, I will tell you. I've found a solution to how to make a spacesuit cheaper and lighter. I made a mind about this so you guys can understand it better. And I wrote five keywords. The first keyword is EVA, which stands for extra vehicular activities, which is type of spacesuit that astronauts wear when they're trying to do spacewalk or a moon or walking on planets. And another keyword is the spacesuit, which is obvious since this week's topic is about spacesuits. And another one is a lightweight material, which the things I found the lightweight materials are carbon nanotubes, CHO, and fibers, which is the materials that scientists are currently developing, but we're not really but current technology we cannot make long carbon nanotubes, so we're still working on it. Scientists are still working on it. And another one is a cost. The cost of the suit is about 83 to 122 millions, but some spacesuits are very expensive for especially for the ones that are made in the past, since they in that time they were not really able to make lots of spacesuits at once. And another one is the weight. And for the weight, in the Earth, the spacesuit weighs about 120 kilograms since of its backpack and other safety things and the other metals and the spacesuits that will help them survive in the space, which is that has lots of dangerous things such as because it has no air, no pressure, and flying at asteroids which moves at the speed of a bullet all over the space.
So you mentioned that. Sorry, you mentioned that we could use lightweight materials for making a spacesuit, right? So I have a question. What is the least amount of lightweight material that we can use to make a sturdy spacesuit? Why not? Why don't we just use, for example, paper or normal clothing?
That's so for because this think we're think going to space wearing a spacesuit of made of paper doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
Because spacesuits is made of different layers of different things that will help them survive in the earth,
Okay.
which like keeps air inside. But like for paper, it can get easily ripped. And for like other, but for like uh, uh, fiber and carbon nanotubes are very thick and as strong as a diamond, some scientists say. So it has to be a sturdy but light things that or materials that can help build good spaces.
Well, what will happen to me if I go out in space without a spacesuit?
Oh, that was the lots of strange things will happen because in Earth there's a one pressure that pressure is the air pushing on you, but in space there's zero, which causes your blood to boil quickly and you will faint in 15 seconds and you might die as quickly as 1 minute, which is very terrible and dying a painful death.
Oh, okay, okay. So it's just for my protection, but at the same time, we need a balance between durable suit and cost, as you are saying, guys.
Yes.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, can I also ask a question?
Ah,
So spacesuits are really meant to be heavy, right?
Yes.
Because this protects the astronauts from all the forces in outer space or in space. So can scientists or do you think that scientists can really make lightweight materials without losing the important features of those spacesuits?
For I think like for those like we can make because like So overall, like lightweight materials can make the overall spaces lighter, and we can also kind of rearrange things so it will be more tight to place. So it will save less save materials and have less heaviers.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How much it costs to make the spacesuit?
It usually costs about 83 to $122 million for developing and making the spacesuits. But for some of the spacesuits are very expensive because they're maybe meant to do a special jobs. Like some are more thicker since maybe it's going to the moon or other rocket planets. Since there's more dust flying over you, so your clothes will be much more thicker and safer.
Okay. Another question. If you think that the spacesuits will be like lighter than their usual weight, do you think that the cost might get lower?
I'm not sure, but maybe because like spacesuits are like currently made are very expensive materials. But for currently, if you're trying to develop a new light material, it might cost more. But in the future, it might cost less than currently, since it might be more common materials.
Okay, you may proceed. Thank you.
Okay. And here I wrote 10 steps to reach my solution, which is making a light spacesuit. And can you read each one? Or teachers, please. Sorry.
Okay. Number one, research about existing spacesuits.
So, like research about there's three types of spacesuits: IVA, EVA, and IEVA, which have different purposes. For IVA is spacesuits that are worn inside the spacecraft or where the air is pressurized, so it's more comfortable. And for EVA is spacesuits that are worn outside of this space station or on the planets to do important things. And for IVA and EVA is object like a spacesuit that can be born inside and outside.
Okay.
And yeah, this
Research about a lightweight material.
which I already did, but it's like take time to make those materials, but researching doesn't take a lot. So we just start by easy things and do the hard things at the back.
Okay, design and make a 3D model of the new spacesuit.
So we can kind of make it and kind of test it on the imaginary world, because like if you make it like the first design and without doing this, you don't know. We might have to rebuild all of them, which it process a lot of money.
What number are we for? Improve the design.
Yeah, which is very easy because like after doing some tests on the world, you can kind of improve the design to make it much more help be safe in emergency situations. Okay.
Make a small version of the design.
Because if you make a big design first, you don't know if it's going to work, or maybe it's not going to maybe stand, or maybe it's not going to move their joints properly. So and also it costs a lot of money to make a real design, like as I mentioned before, like 83 million at least. So they have to make like 1/3 of the size of the real design to see if it works.
Okay.
Oh,
Number
six.
6 is measure different body lengths of the astronaut.
This is not must do, but it's because for some spacesuits we can make adjustable size, so we can reuse spacesuits. But if you're making for one special astronauts, this can be happened. Okay, so
Make the suit that fits the astronauts.
it's just like kind of making the real model of it to kind of prototype. I need to say. Okay.
Test it on asteroids and other emergencies.
You can do this by shooting guns, since dust moving in space is similar to guns firing on Earth, and also like other emergencies like air leak to see if the emergency buttons and gears still works.
Add final touches.
Which is like after doing, if some of them doesn't work, we should go back to the first one and kind of add final touches to make it work. And for the last one is assemble all the parts, which is just kind of putting the machineries together and also kind of make like astronauts wear the spacesuits, which yeah. And here I made a prototype of my solution of how we can make space suits or lighter. And my solution, I draw this by myself and send it to AI to improve and make a 3D model of it. So if I kind of explain this beautifully, because like there's like because there's some people wanted to do for long periods of time, or people do smaller amount of time. But currently, most people use this 6 hour, and there's no of this since like everyone can just wear that. But my idea is we can make different sizes so it can use for person who wants to work different hours. For example, for 6 hours for ones who want to walk on other planets or do or solar panel fix on the ISS. But for 1 hour, you can be like kind of walking around, like doing a spacewalk in the ISS just to kind of have fun or kind of a tourist, maybe some tourists will do it. And in here, you can see the air tanks and water tanks. And air tanks are used, of course, to breathing, and the water tank is used to as a cooling system since the sun is hot, and also as a drinking water. And here's a pipe because this is unworn currently. So if you put this in the back, you can kind of connect it to parts of part to spacesuit, so it can kind of move and kind of do the jobs properly. And and there's a battery and also a radio there, but it disappeared. I forgot it here, but it's like because you have to communicate in the space because we doesn't know what happens, so we have to have the communication like as a backup system. For so
All right.
thank you. So this is so in my presentation, I talked about the problem and the solution. The problem called why is spacesuits? How can we make spacesuits heavy and light, light and cheap? Thank you.
All right. So a few comments on the presentation. There's a reason actually why airbags or the things we carry around in the spacesuits are standardized. It's because of emergencies and stuff like that. So, for example, I am an astronaut that carries around the 1 hour supply of your spacesuit, and then suddenly there's an emergency, and I have only 1 hour of air remaining. What do I do now? Do I just
Um,
accept my fate?
maybe you should run back to ISS or spacecraft so you can be kind of space safe.
So it's just for short distance trips and stuff like that. Okay. So my next question is more on the logistical side, right? You keep mentioning that the cost of developing a spacesuit is in the millions of dollars. Now, my question is, there are a lot of problems in the world that needed solving. For that money, I can do a lot of things. I can donate to charity, feed starving children, maybe even give some animals a home. So my question is, why is this more worth spending those millions of dollars in
Because
other things?
for those things we can do it later, but it's not really that important, I'd say. But for space explorations, because the space has lots of ways to earn money, like for asteroids is filled with gold and other precious materials, and also with space, if you do space explorations, you can discover new things which we're currently working on, and what the U.S. government are trying to put the money to NASA.
Okay, so you think space is more important than
Yeah,
earthly
Earth.
matters?
Yeah,
Okay.
because if the Earth's like have a nuclear war or something, we can kind of evacuate, right?
Yeah, that reasonable answer. I'll accept it.
Okay. So why do we need a 3D model?
Because for 3D model, you can kind of imagine it better than 2D model, and we can kind of see the actual like what it looks like in real version, like when it's made and printed or yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this is like a basic question for you, but the usual or the basic time you can use your air supply is only 6 hours, right? So is it only used for one time? I am just curious about that. But if you use it for one time, does it can you not use it anymore after that?
Of course, you can refill again. You can kind of refill the air and refill the water. And but in the past, people just use it once since because they were scared that there will be a kind of virus from the other planets that might spread to humans. But currently, we figure out that nothing else happens. So. Because and also this causes so much to money to make it a new one again, people are trying to kind of reuse spacesuits. Like SpaceX is trying to do to reuse the rockets.
Or how can you make sure that there is only a specific hour that you can use those air supplies? For example, you intend to use it only for 1 hour, just like on your prototype. So what if an emergency happens and you like extend it to that 1 hour?
Maybe you can call for help using the radio system so they can come and refill your air. Or maybe you should kind of think about it. So kind of like add it divide the half. So if you want to kind of think of a 30 minutes journey, you can kind of wear the 1 hour one. And if you're kind of thinking and if you need more, you can kind of wear both of them.
Okay, no more questions.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. And we did